Africa, I agree. They sold their own people or other tribes. It was an inside, kind of like an inside job, you could say,
Yes.
where they sold out other African tribes that maybe they didn't like or that they were opposed to,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But my question is, don't you think the slaves on the slave boat that didn't have the option, do you think that they chose to be there? No, they were forced to be there. Like, for example, I read the book Roots. I don't know if you know the book Roots. It's a story about Kunta Kinte, where
Okay.
he fought off three of the slave capturers. He
Yes.
tried to fight him off, but he ended up getting hit in the head by a guy snuck up on him, hit him in the head with a club, knocked him out unconscious. He ends up on a boat. So
I see.
there's and when you follow his story, when he was in America, he not only tried to escape the slavery, but he tried to get back to Africa. You feel me? He wasn't successful. He was one of the slaves that weren't successful, right?
Yes.
So so my point comes back down to it wasn't a choice that they even made. It was chosen for them by other people, maybe who had more power or who was able to. But it wasn't. It was had to have been a racism thing. Had to have been. You know what I mean? Because
Yes,
again,
and yes, but
yeah,
he was hit at the with a club by a fellow African, right? Not by an
no,
American.
American. It wasn't American. He
Okay.
was hiding somewhere. It was an
Yes.
ambush. They ambushed him, and So my point is, it was forced upon them. Why was it forced upon them? Because they were seen as inferior to them. You know what I mean? And maybe, no, and no. Let me not say maybe. And I think we're arguing for no reason. I think that your point absolutely stands.
Mm-hmm.
The Africans seen more value in a gun than
Mm-hmm.
10 people. So they
Yes.
decided, let me further what's the word?
Take advantage
Revolutionize
of
my
this.
country.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah. So let me strengthen myself, my people, my country at the cost of other black folks.
Yes.
And at the same time, the reason they chose to grab these black folks, put them on ships, treat them like shit on the ships. Let's literally treat them like shit. They were swimming and sitting in their own filth,
Yes.
and some of them did kill themselves. They jumped off boats. They said, I'd rather get eaten by a shark than go to this place. So I feel like, yeah, it's not which one was worse. I feel like it's both. Both of our points are the reason
Okay.
that this happened, right? So yeah, go ahead.
I see. But if you think if okay, do you believe right now Africa is a place where you want to return to?
Absolutely, and I've lived there before, and I would love to
Really?
live there again. Absolutely, no questions. Like right now, does Africa have corrupt leaders? Absolutely. Do
Yes.
we do we have corruption going on? 100%. However, there's hope. I don't know if you know Ibrahim Traore.
No, I do
The
not.
No. So if you Google his name, the CIA tried to kill him many times. Why? I'll let you do your Google. Right? He is the I think president or prime minister of Burkina Faso. He decided to cut ties with France. He said, "No more of our gold is going to you." The last few months, they generated $8 billion in I think revenue. Correct? Once you do your 8 million, something like that, a substantial amount of money based off of the gold that they produce. Now, the Sahel state is four countries. I forget. I think Chad, Mali, Burkina Faso, and one more. I could be mistaken,
Libya?
but he's trying to huh?
No, continue, continue.
Yeah. So he's trying to unite that part of Africa.
Hmm.
Now you move further east or the central Congo. Where are you from? Where are you from, by the way?
I'm from Cameroon.
You're from Cameroon. Okay.
Yes.
Cameroon might be one of the four, but I could be mistaken. However,
Hmm.
now my other point, have you heard of Prince Lumumba
Prince
from
Mamumba
Congo?
from Congo? Yes, yes,
Lumumba.
I
This
do.
is
Yes, I
Yes.
do.
So we know how valuable Congo was and the resources that they had, and because
Yes,
he tried to centralize, he tried to keep it within, they killed him.
yes,
Now you move up, Muammar Gaddafi in Libya, controversial fellow, controversial president.
yes.
The Libyans, some of them, most of them didn't like him. He did kill people. However, he tried to Pan Africanism. He tried to unite Africa,
Hmm.
right? When they heard they're trying to unite Africa, they killed him. So there's hope in these places right now. Ibrahim Traore is our hope. Now, me, I'm Somali. I'm from Somalia, right?
Okay.
And we have divided. It's a divided country, right?
Hmm.
And the thing is, the way I see it, would I go and live there? Would I retire there? Absolutely, no questions asked. However, is it safe? No, it is not safe. And I'm not gonna be delusional and be like it's the safest place I can. You know what I mean? No, it's not
Mm-hmm.
safe at all. But it was purposely divided, and there was borders put across them for the Europeans and the Americans for them to exploit us for our resources, to take advantage of our land, take advantage of our of literally where we are. Like if you look at the coast, the coastal, the eastern, where Somalia, where Eritrea, where Ethiopia, where or not Ethiopia, Eritrea, Somalia, Djibouti,
Mm-hmm.
and Somaliland. If you look at that corner, the Horn of Africa, that can lead us straight. It's a path to get to the Panama Canal, Suez Canal. No, Suez Canal.
Yeah.
If you know what the Suez Canal is, where a
Yes.
majority of the exports go through, right?
Yes.
So so then now Israel is tied in with. Anyway, that's a long story. But my point is, um,
The
I think yes,
CIA is going around and killing those who want to build sovereign nations in Africa.
exactly, and to make powerhouse. So that's the thing. If you're telling me that it has nothing to do with racism, I think it has everything to do with not only racism, but as you were saying, resources, money, and for them to be the powerhouse, for the Western world to be the powerhouse. Because if Africa does unite, let's say tomorrow, I'm being delusional. Tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
Africa unites. Pan Africanism has their own currency, retains the resources. Then I promise you, Africa will become the next whatever USA is right now. Whatever USA, Canada, France, all these places are right now.
You like the next world power?
The next world power will reside in Africa if they were to come together. And that's a big if. I doubt that it'll happen in our lifetime,
Mm-hmm.
but if it does, then there'll be what's the word I'm looking for? An empire.
I see.
Mm.
Yeah, this is actually interesting because I have a friend of mine who tells me the same thing, and I
Mm.
usually disagree with him. Not
Mhm.
based on the CIA sabotaging African leaders. I do believe the CIA does sabotage African leaders at every turn for the African resources, and yeah, I
Yes.
do believe that. But
Not just African. Let me just say this before you continue.
yeah.
Not just African. Even if you move up to Saudi Arabia in 1973, they killed the king because he said, "I don't want to give my oil because what you guys did to Palestine. I'm not giving you guys my oil.
Mhm,
You guys can find someone else." They end up
mhm.
killing. Anyway, continue your point though. So not just
Yes,
Africa.
I
Yeah.
understand. In the Middle East, America has done a lot of foreign wars, like with Iran and everything. Yeah, I
Yes.
understand. And also,
But you said you. Yeah.
usually
Yeah.
at the benefit of Israel. And
Mhm.
yeah, so it's really not possible. It's really difficult for the for native people to protect their own resources against a
Yeah.
superpower like America. I
Yes.
agree.
Yeah. But
So
you were saying you disagree. What was the point you disagree with?
I disagree with Africa being able to build the same society that a place like Africa has been able to achieve. The reason being, most Africans are not really uh, intelligent on average. Like I don't believe they're capable of adapting to their environment. I mean, adapting to an industrious environment, not because they're incapable of doing so, but because their environment does not demand it. So Western society, American society, the reason why they were forced to develop their society to these standards, to the buildings that they have right now, to the machinery which they have right now, is because they needed to survive the conditions of winter. But Africa uh, doesn't have such an obstacle in their way, so they don't have any incentive to adapt to this obstacle. So
Mhm.
they are able to live an easy life, which only demands they develop some physical capabilities. This is why Africans turn out more strong than the Europeans, than the other white people, because they're able to adapt physically. They're able to hunt. They're able to climb trees and get fruits. So so they are more capable, but
Huh?
intellectually they don't have any incentive to develop themselves intellectually and build an industrial society. So with this, I believe with no incentive, there will be no uh, achieving an industrial society in Africa. So this is why,
So
yeah,
no, go ahead. This is why. Keep going. Keep going.
yeah.
I'm listening to you.
So this is why the IQ average is very low in Africa for the most part, which is 81, I believe. And
Okay.
and yeah, and so
Let me ask you this though.
yeah.
Or sorry, do you have another point? If you have something else, go ahead. Finish your point first, and then I'll
Yes.
ask.
Yeah. So what I'll finish with. This is why they're not able to also efficiently react to the CIA sabotaging them at every turn, because they're able to do so because they're more intelligent than most of the Africans, and so they are able to do this with very minimal resistance, and
Hmm.
yeah, and so they're able to
Okay.
win very easily.
Okay. One, to tackle your last point, JFK, he got assassinated,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
He president. Abraham Lincoln assassinated. Now that was in the past. Your point might be that was in the past. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about the future. Charlie Kirk assassinated. He's not a president. However, he was a notable figure. He
Yes.
was just recently. Donald Trump almost got assassinated. He got hit in the ear. So if and then now let me tackle your point on. So that has to do with intelligence. Let's go back to intelligence. Did you know the IQ test that they took on these people were ones where is okay. Where are you from? You said Cameroon, right? Were
Yes.
you born in Cameroon or were you born here?
Born in Cameroon.
Born in Cameroon.
Yeah.
So, would it be fair to take a Cameroonian child living in the village? Let's give him an IQ test based off of things that a Western American kid was taught. Is that fair?
Uh,
It's absolutely it's a test bias. No, it's not fair. Not like there's no way in hell that if I question a kid in the village, even if I speak his language and I ask him, "Do you know what a television is?" Someone who lived in a village will tell me no. But guess what? He can ask me that I don't know. Do you know how to make a fire with rocks and a? No, I don't know how to do. I don't know the first step to that. So
wait.
judging someone based, yeah.
Yeah, but in America, we also have an African American population where even though they have distinguished themselves on community and have their own school
Mhm.
based for the black population, they are still
Yeah.
not able to do those standards. Actually, most of those tests have actually been done in America, where there's a black community there. They have been trying to teach them. They've been trying to educate them, and as you can see on the internet, for the most part, most African Americans, they are not able to be cohesive as a
Mhm.
community in the first place. They are not able to, whenever they're asked, like, I don't know, a basic arithmetic question, they always fail. So yeah,
So
and those are a group of people
uh,
who have been there for generations, and
are
interacting
we?
with them.
Yeah. So are we talking about Africa or are we talking about African American? Because I thought we were talking about Africa.
We're talking about black people here, like genetically, are they intelligent? And Africans American,
Absolutely.
yeah. So
I don't think color. I don't think color has anything to do. Are you anti-black by any chance?
anti-black? No, I wouldn't say so.
No, right? I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I don't think you are. But the points that you're making, made me ask you that because saying that black people are intellectually behind, intellectually, slower than these white folks or whoever, or Asian folks or whoever, I think is an insult not only to yourself but to all the doctors and the engineers and the lawyers that we have. You know what I mean? So that's a topic for another day. You were talking about industrializing. You know how the Western world was industrialized and how Africa doesn't rely on that because it doesn't have winter. Actually, Lesotho in South Africa has snow, and they get down to -20, -30. You said you lived in Cameroon, correct? You were born there,
Yes,
or you lived there? Yes.
yes.
So you've never seen architectural designs that were advanced, like when you come to the West. You've never seen anything that was equivalent to that. You haven't seen any tall buildings. You haven't seen anything in the city, not outside in the village, but in the city.
In the city, I think the most advanced building which I've encountered is a three-story building, for example.
Okay,
Like nothing
okay.
above that.
So if you look at Rwanda, if you look at Kigali, Rwanda specifically, you will see a place that you think is Europe, America, Canada. You look at places in all across South Africa, you would think, again, is places like, you know what I mean? You look in Egypt, you look in Kenya, you look in, you know, all over. You will find places in at least every single, in majority, I should say, majority of the countries that are advanced and that have adapted to the society that we live in the West. Now, you made a good point where you said they don't need to worry about winter. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
majority of African countries do not. 90%, 99% don't need to worry about winter,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I don't think that has anything to do with intellect or engineering or architect. I've seen houses, modern houses in Africa that look better
Yes,
than the
but
ones here.
yes, but
So
are they a product of the of a black community coming together and building that, or
what else would it be?
is it a product of an immigrant, like a European coming into Africa?
So my question to you is: do you not think that there's engineers in Africa? Do you not think that there are people that are able to become? Because you're what I'm getting at is that you think that black people are inferior intellectually compared to their white counterparts.
Like
That's
yes,
what I'm getting from you. You
yes,
seem like an intelligent man.
yes.
I'm not gonna say an intelligent black man, but I'm gonna say you're an intelligent man,
Okay,
right? Because you're a human being. You're a person at the end of the day. Before
okay.
before anything, you know what I mean? And I definitely I believe that yes, there's both. There's a but then at the same time in Canada or in America in these Western worlds, there's also black ran project managers where they were the ones who had the project running. They built the complexes. They had people for them running it. So your point on saying in Africa, was there white people that came, foreigners that came and, or not white people, but foreigners that came and built those things, or was it their idea? Doesn't matter whose idea it was. You know what I mean?
How
Because
come?
in the Western world, I think you missed my point. Because in the Western world, you have people that are black that are building these buildings. You have people that are black that are doing all these things. You know what I mean? That are equivalent, if not better, than their foreign counterparts, so to say. So I feel like if you look specifically in Africa, who's running the show? Majority of them are the black Africans that are doing it, right? You look in the Western world, majority of them are the people of the country. So
Wait, are you up to date with the South African situation?
no, not right with right now or what?
Right now,
No.
where a minority of the population, which is white,
Mm-hmm.
is being kicked out by the majority, which are black,
It's
because they
black, yes.
claim they are on stolen land, and they claim is their land by birthright. The black people claim is their land by birthright, and the white people are invaders.
Okay.
Although the white people who are there, they have been able to build uh, to develop machinery to be able to sustain the huge areas of land that they have. They have built it agriculturally, and so once the black people succeeded in kicking the white people out from that land, they took over it, but they weren't capable of sustaining the same output of goods of products that the white people were able to do so on the same uh, pla pieces of land. They
Mm-hmm.
weren't able to sustain the machinery, and so they basically shot themselves in the foot because
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
the black population were also sustaining themselves on what the white people were producing. So
Yeah.
so they now decided begging for foreign aid, and yeah, it just created a lot of chaos in African society. I mean, in South
Yes.
Africa.
South Africa. So
Yeah.
number one, South Africa is a very xenophobic state. Xenophobic is having the fear of people that aren't your people, right? So, and I'm not going to disagree with your point,
Mhm.
but let me say that number two, They pushed out the people. So would you say that's racism or no?
Uh, the black the black people.
Pushing out the white people. Would you say that's racism?
No, I wouldn't say that's racism. I'll say that's an inferiority complex.
So so they felt inferior to the white people,
Exactly.
and so they pushed them out in order for them to claim who they are.
Yes.
So yeah, so then that is racism then. Because racism, the thing is, racism is having a prejudice or a bias against a certain group of people. Their prejudice and bias was because they felt inferior. So that was their bias, right? That's a bias right there. So number one, that this goes back to the first question that started this whole thing. Racism exists, right? Number two, them pushing out the white people is a form of racism, but it is also a form of It's a form of what's the word? They're getting their get back. I forget the word I'm trying to use, but it's them trying to get
Revenge.
revenge. Revenge, yes, but
Yeah.
it was there's another word. But yeah, retaliation. That's the word. It's them
Okay.
retaliating, right?
Yes.
So them pushing out the white people. Number one, to me, what it sounds like is they didn't think first. They acted first. Doesn't mean they're stupid. It just means they just wanted to get rid of them. Why do you think they wanted to get rid of them? Because again, you said they felt inferior, right?
Yes.
So if someone is constantly making you feel inferior and is attacking you and bothering, however, they're the ones that are sustaining you. Let's just use our parents for example. Sometimes our parents get on our nerves, right?
Yes.
Sometimes our parents make us
Wait.
feel a little inferior.
Wait. Let me introduce you to a
Sure.
situation where where inferiority complex is really the reason why most black men turn out to be very violent towards others. I'll use an example from African American society where it's very popular where those who are higher in status in the black community get targeted by the others. For example, we know that there are a lot of rappers who die, who get shot in black societies. We know there are a lot of NBA players who get shot in black societies by other black people, and this is
I haven't heard of NBA players getting shot, but keep going.
well,
I've heard of rappers. Rappers, I
yes.
agree. Black people, African Americans. I know the rule, but I've never heard really NBA players getting shot at. But okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have mostly been able to avoid this because they usually move into white neighborhoods. For example, LeBron James, he has moved to a white neighborhood. We know,
Okay.
we know many of them, whenever they have enough income, they usually move to a more safer neighborhood, which is usually
Yeah,
away from black community neighborhoods. So to
but who's
avoid that type of violence, yeah,
okay? So quick point.
yeah,
Do you know who the agent, who LeBron's agent is? Rich Paul.
yeah,
Tell me if he's black or white. He's black. He's a black guy. That's his agent.
yes.
So continue your point. I just want to leave that out there.
Okay, and yeah, so and most and the highest cause of death for black people in general are other black people. So this also popular in gangs. Whenever they see someone who has a higher status of power and they want the same thing, they basically
Yeah,
kill them, and this
envy.
is the
It's
reason
envy.
why they also go against white people in America. This is the reason why
Mhm.
they target white people too, because they see they are inferior to them, and but they want the same thing that they have, which is which could be status, which could be power, which could be wealth, but their response to them, to feeling inferior to those people, is going
Mhm.
against them with
Violence.
violence. Yes.
So okay, so let me ask you this. So you think so? Is there? Do you think there's a reason that they feel inferior? What's the reason behind it? Slavery, racism, and all that. So you don't think that the history of their people that they went through is a sorry.
Is a
Anyway,
reason
so
for
you
their
don't think
inferiority, for the reason why they've developed this mentality of inferiority.
okay? Do you know what segregation is? In 1950s, during the
Yes.
Jim Crow era,
Yes.
they weren't. It's really not highlighted in the textbooks, but not I think everybody knows the basics where they weren't allowed to have they couldn't share a water fountain, they couldn't share a bathroom,
Yeah.
they weren't allowed to go to university until 1950 something.
Yes.
um right, Malcolm X was killed for trying to show that look, we're not asking to be superior. We're just asking to be seen as equals. And there was a book written by a Jewish individual. I forget his name, something Rothstein. He wrote a novel called The Law of Color. How they segregated, redlined different community housing.
Mm-hmm.
This goes back to your point about housing and about how black people feel inferior. This is to your point,
Yes.
where you think that they're retaliating for no reason or they're acting out for no reason. They were forced into these neighborhoods, right, where they were crammed into a small how small areas
Yes.
where it's black one. So, and if they try to buy a house, if a black man was successful in America, he was a lawyer, doctor, engineer. Number one, at his job, he was seen as less than. He was told to do most of the work. He wasn't paid the same.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, when he tried to buy a house in a neighborhood, in a white neighborhood, he wasn't allowed to. They wouldn't sell him the house. And if he did, if he found a loophole, they would kick out, they would get rid of all the white tenants, or they would tell the white tenants in his neighbors,
Mm-hmm.
they would tell them this house is going to depreciate in value
Yes.
because you have black folks next over, right, as your neighbors. Why? One, in fact, it was incorrect because the black folks took extra precautions to make sure their grass was low, their yard was clean, and it was cleaner than those of their white counterparts. But because of that, because of their color and the racism and the law of color, that's what the name of the book is. They were the landlord went to the neighbors and told them your house is going to depreciate, sell your houses, right? When in fact the houses appreciated in value, not because black people were living there, but because they were able to take care of their houses, maintain it, and keep a structure. But guess what? They were kicked out of these houses and they had to move into smaller projects. I know you've obviously heard of the slums and the projects.
Yes.
So they're put into these. Who do you think was the one distributing all this crack cocaine and all this that created all this? You think black people knew because hey, they're idiots, right? All black people, their IQ level is 81, right?
Yeah.
How would they be able to create crack, cocaine, all this shit? You think that they came up with it, mixed that shit up, said, yeah, this nigga, they
No.
need a lab for that, brother. They need a lab for that. They need equipment for that. They need money. They need time. They need resources. They need all that. And you think that black people came, created that, started taking shots. All these
It was
gangs
all
came
by
up.
the CIA, right?
See, okay, so we can come to an agreement that
Mm-hmm.
this was planned to keep black people inferior, make them feel inferior. And okay, let me say this part. I disagree with how black people, how they like killing people is not the right thing to do. Let me just put it straight. Let me put it there.
I
Joining a
agree.
gang isn't the right thing to do, right?
Yes.
It's not the right thing to do. It's stupid. Let's be real. It's dumb, right?
Yes.
But when your back is against the wall, right? When you have no other option, when you have no other choice, either I go and do this, make some money so I can, provide for my family. You know what I'm saying? My family wasn't educated. My family can't even wasn't able to afford a house. And back when houses were a lot cheaper, we all know that the housing boom, the prices went up in houses. So my
Mm,
family couldn't pay for a house back then. So let me finish my point,
okay.
and I'll let you retaliate, or I'll let you rebuttal. But number one, I wasn't my parents weren't able to buy a house, have something in their name, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because of all the rules, and the FHA kept making all these decisions. The Federal Housing Administration kept making these decisions to fuck up excuse my language, but to ruin and to screw up their ability to have property, to own property,
Yes.
right? And this was the time where a house was probably like $5,000 for a house. Like what? That's crazy. So during that time when they had the wealth to do it, they weren't allowed to. And then now you look at them. Now they're in the projects. The reason, and this I'll give you this right here.
Mm-hmm.
The reason a lot of them are in these gangs, are in these situations that they find themselves in, is because intellectually they it's because they don't believe in themselves. They don't believe that, I could get out of this situation. I can be the one who changes my family's trajectory. I could be the one who breaks the cycle, because all they know is the cycle. All they know is, my dad sell dope, my grandpa sell dope, my dad was a pimp, my grandpa was a pimp, he was a dope dealer. That's all I know. That's all they know,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So that becomes part of their identity where they believe it. You know what I mean? So
Uh,
I forget. Yeah, that's my point. That was my rebuttal to you.
Yeah. So, mm, I think.
So, oh yeah, that was your point. Your point was talking about why they act out and why they choose to pick on these white folks,
Yeah.
and why they leave these black neighborhoods and go to white neighborhoods, prestigious ones, quote unquote.
Yeah. Well.
And it's generational. It's generational wealth. But yeah,
Yeah. Well, I don't actually think there's a point which I agree with per se.
that's fine.
Because.
I spoke facts. Everything I spoke was facts, and it was written by a Jewish lawyer. So, and he worked in the FHA, so he can. So you don't need to take my word for it. You can Google this, and Google will tell you this. So,
Oh yeah,
but
there are a lot
go
of
ahead.
theories. Yeah, there are a lot of theories that say
Theories.
yeah
Okay.
yeah, well, because
Interesting.
yeah, I wouldn't say I don't have the evidence for it, but there are a lot of
You don't
theories.
have the evidence. Okay.
Yes,
Okay. Sure.
because,
Sure.
well,
But it's a fact. I'm
wait,
telling
let
you, it's
me
a fact.
finish.
Yeah.
Wait, let me finish.
Yeah. No. 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 I know. I'm just letting you know it's a fact. It's not a theory. But keep going.
Okay, that the Jewish people are the people who were focused on destroying the black communities. You, you are you aware of that theory? That saying
I.
where people
I.
say,
I. Yeah. I've heard that before. Yeah. But I never said that. I didn't say that.
yeah, that's the theory I was talking about. It wasn't
Yeah. I
exactly.
didn't. I didn't.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
wasn't
Okay.
what you
Yeah.
said.
Keep.
It wasn't what you
Yes.
said.
Yes.
You said
Okay.
Jew, and I just said,
It
this
came. Yeah.
theory about
Sure.
Jews who are they are the reason for, who are trying to destroy the black communities. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but back to your points. So you say, the black people, the reason why they are against each other is because they want to, it's a question of survival. So they are not able to, they're not able to get resources from the white people because they are basically hoarded all of the resources, and so the little resources which is left among them, they are forced to be violent towards each other in their little community, and they don't have a lot of space to breathe. They don't have a lot of agency, so they have no choice but to go at each other throats no matter what.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Say your. Sorry. I was just talking to my friend.
Okay.
But yeah, you were saying. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you're saying the reason why they go against each other is because resources are scarce, because most of the wealth and resources have been hoarded by white people generationally, and the little which they have, they are forced to battle each other to be able to survive,
Not.
and
No. No.
sustain their
Not
families,
necessarily.
right? No?
Yeah. But no. No. Not necessarily. I was just saying how. I was just giving an example
Yeah?
of housing and property. Owning a property is a very, we know this, that's a very important and it's a very vital thing, right?
Yeah?
So essentially what I was trying to get at was it was made difficult for them to own property.
Yes?
Every time that they did own property, they were forced out of it, or they were by white folks, they were forced out of it, or they were told that wherever they're living
Yes?
is not suitable for them, and they have, so they were, yeah, they were forced out. They weren't allowed to own property, right?
Okay, but do you
And
think that's still true today?
apps, I mean, it affects us to this day. It impacts us to this day because
How
you
so?
look at the because you look at the housing ownership,
Yes?
right? Who owns houses, right? Listen, Africans have been in North America for how many years? Since slavery. Let's say 1700s.
Mm-hmm.
For correct about 300 years. Let's say 250 to 300 years, right? And you're telling me that only 6% of Africans own a house? You don't think that that was done on purpose? You think that that was done by choice? That they chose? They built this country. They built the America. They built it. They were the ones who were forced to build the countries, right?
Yes.
So how come only 6% of them own houses, while the remaining percentage is 54% was white homeowners,
Mm-hmm.
and the remaining is spread across different cultures and different people that have now recently joined came to America.
Well, housing is not really. I don't think it's that scarce of a resource.
See, you're talking about
there's a lot.
scarcity. I'm not talking about scarcity, my
No,
friend.
no,
There's
no. I want to explain to you that
okay,
the
go.
black people still have an opportunity in the real estate market. It's not. It's
The
not.
fact. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the
No, no, sorry. So,
yeah, it's not the
yeah.
market which I believe can be monopolized, because there is still a lot of land which new houses can be built upon.
Okay.
Yeah, the population keeps rising. Yeah, there's always land, there's always opportunity to
But the
build
money
more
though,
houses. Yeah, yeah.
right?
So, but
We're like they weren't able to get generational wealth from these houses. These okay. Let me give you
they
another
can
fact,
build
right?
their own wealth. What I'm saying is they can
But that's
build.
the thing. But you're saying that as if it's easy to do that. If every single time there's a new, every time you reach somewhere, there's an obstacle in your way. Every Won't you get tired? Won't you get tired of those obstacles?
But
Because how many
yes,
hurdles am I supposed to jump until my heart gives out, until my lungs, until I collapse? Every time that I get to point A,
hmm
or every time I get to point B, right?
hmm
There's a point. Sorry, let me actually say it like this. Every time I get to point two, point one has A B C D E F G. Now I get to point number two, A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P. Now I get to point. Those are all the obstacles that are being put in the way.
but
You know what I mean? They
okay,
try to fight.
I
Yeah, that's
yeah,
my point.
I
Yeah.
realize what you mean, but what I'm saying is, before Donald Trump came into power, right? The Liberal Party was in power, the Democratic Party was in power in America, right? And
Okay.
yeah, and according to statistics, we can see that most black people were actually offered more jobs. They were given more opportunity than ever. As a matter of fact, most of the people hired were black people,
Okay.
even though they were the minority of the population.
Mhm.
And white people who were the majority were not able to get as many jobs. So they were
So, do you
given,
think?
yeah.
Sorry, let me just retaliate that point real quick.
Mm.
Do you think one year of this job giving people black people jobs is enough to cover generational trauma?
No,
Do you think 1 year is enough to cover that? You know,
yeah,
that's what I'm hearing though.
what I'm saying is they have a lot of opportunities to make a comeback, but they keep falling at every turn. They keep
Why?
failing because they're retarded. No, not
You see,
retarded.
so
No, no,
no, no,
no,
no.
no, 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 no.
And that
Because
for me is enough to see that you hate being black, brother. You hate being black. Have a good
no,
night. Take care.
no,
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 no.
no, no. I
That's
don't. I don't. Honestly, I feel.